Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agumofwegbe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nigecomsat. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has formally agreed to permit oil marketers who operate under the auspices of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria to commence the lifting of the premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, from its depot at a lower price. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has also committed to issuing imports and off-taker licenses to the oil dealers to either import, fuel directly, or purchase products straight from the Dangote refinery, in line with the government plan to fully deregulate the oil sector. This came after the association threatened to cease operations nationwide due to the high costs associated with loading petroleum products from NNPCL facilities. However, in a new agreement reached following a peace meeting facilitated by the Director General of the Department of State Services, Adeola Ajayi, the national oil firm has permitted the loading of products to cover the 15 billion naira owed to the marketers. Vice President Kashif Shettima says the low labor force participation occasioned by the staggering unemployment rates in Nigeria must be reversed. Shettima made the promise during the launch of the Nasarawa State Human Capital Development Strategy document and Gender Transformative Human Capital Development Policy Framework in Lafia, the state capital, where he emphasized that the administration's goal is to empower Nigerians with globally competitive skills that will enable Nigerian workers excel both domestically and in the international markets. Elsewhere, Vice President Kashif Shettima has called for a return to traditional family values as solution to Nigeria's social and economic challenges. Speaking at the Muslim Family Summit in Abuja, Shettima was said to have emphasized the urgent need to reinforce traditional family structures as a grassroots approach to addressing Nigeria's pressing issues. Vice President Kashif Shettima has also unveiled the strategy document of the Nasarawa State Human Capital Development Agency. Let's take a look at other stories for you. Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says the president can go wherever he likes as he is still observing his 2 weeks leave. This followed criticism trailing Tinubu's trip from the United Kingdom to France. In a post via X, Onanuga said President Tinubu is on leave and can travel wherever he chooses. The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, has demanded the immediate reversal of the latest increase in the cost of petroleum products to 1,030 naira. A statement by the association's president, Afam Osigwe SAN, says the NBA expressed concern that such decisions continue to be made without transparent consultation or dialogue with relevant stakeholders, including civil society and the private sector. Meanwhile, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged President Bola Tinubu to direct the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, to immediately reverse the second increase in petrol prices in 1 month, pending the hearing and determination of the suit before the Federal High Court in Abuja, challenging the legality of the paths of the nation's oil company to increase petrol prices. SERAP's Deputy Director, Kalawale Oluwadare, says the organization had last month filed a lawsuit against the President and NNPCL over the company's alleged failure to reverse the unlawful increase in the pump price of petrol and to probe the allegations of corruption and mismanagement in the company. SERAP further noted that it believes the latest increase in petrol prices make a mockery of the case pending before the Federal High Court and creates a risk that the course of justice will be seriously impeded or prejudiced in this case. Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa State has suspended his special advisor on salary and pensions, Bashir Ado, over an alleged premature statement on 70,000 naira minimum wage. This is contained in a statement signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Bala Ibrahim Indutse. Ibrahim says the government viewed with serious concern a statement circulating in various sections of the media alleging that the governor had approved 70,000 naira as new minimum wage for workers in the state. He says this sounds embarrassing and premature, as the committee headed by the head of the State Civil Service, set up by the government to advise on the appropriate wage, is yet to complete its assignments and submits a report. Let's take a look at other stories now. Ogun State's All Progressives Congress Youth Leaders Forum has condemned the killing of Adeleke Adeyinka, the councillorship candidate for Abeokuta South local government in the forthcoming November 16 local government elections in the state. Adeyinka was killed by some assailants suspected to be cultists at Jide Jones area, Okelewo, Abeokuta, the state's capital. The gunmen were said to have come in a tinted car, after which one of them stepped out of the car and shot the 40-year-old transport union worker at a close range. Quite a sad story there. As the crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party persists, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and Bauchi State Governor Bala Muhammad has charged the factional acting national chairman of the party, Umar Damagun, to revert to the status quo. A senior party member informed newsmen that the PDP Governors Forum has called for an emergency meeting on Monday to discuss various concerns regarding the party's future. The PDP stakeholders are reportedly considering the establishment of a caretaker committee to guide the party toward a national convention to elect a new national working committee. Kaduna State's Independent Electoral Commission Chairman Hajira Mohammed says there is no plan by the commission to rig the forthcoming local government election in the state, cautioning politicians to refrain from violence and hate speech during the election period. The chairman made these comments during the stakeholders' engagement and sensitization meeting, urging all political parties to support the officials assigned to their constituencies in conducting free, fair, peaceful, and credible elections. The Commissioner of Police in Imo State, CP Aboki Danjuma, has ordered the arrest of an officer and his team for extorting money from commercial bus drivers. The command's public relations officer, ASP Henry Okoye, disclosed this in a statement on X. A 15-second video showed a policeman collecting money from commercial bus drivers plying the road. Okoye assured that it would personally identify these officers and share their details to show that the command has zero tolerance for extortion. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos have arrested a Thailand returnee, Ogwejofor Simon Peter, for importing 13.30 kilograms of heroin worth over 3.12 billion naira. Ogwejofor was arrested while attempting to smuggle out of the airport the drug concealed in 6 backpacks and then packed into 2 big suitcases. According to a statement by the agency's spokesperson, Femi Babafemi, the suspect left Thailand on October 3 on a Qatar Airways flight and stopped over in Doha, where he spent 2 days before heading to Lagos, while his luggage was routed to Accra, Ghana, his original destination. 4 youths have been killed in Plateau State following an attack by gunmen in Bokos local government area of the state. It was learned that the victims were working at a mining site in Batura community when the gunmen attacked them around 9 p.m., killing 4 persons on the spot. President of the Butura Youth Movement, Sebastian Majid, confirmed the killings in a statement. Majid said the gunmen also injured 5 other persons during the attack before they fled the area. Renowned educationist and the Asewaju of Oshogbo land, Ajadi Badmus, has died at the age of 83. Badmus died in the early hours of Sunday in Oshogbo, the Osun State capital. In a tribute signed by his spokesman, Olawale Rashid, the state governor, Ademola Adeleke, described Badmus's exit as an unfortunate development at a time Oshogbo is witnessing rapid development in line with the dream of the deceased. Governor Adeleke, who lamented the transition to eternal glory of Badmus, condoled the Ataoja of Oshogbo in council and all Oshogbo's sons and daughters of the community over the death of the elder statesman. The Lagos State University Teaching Hospital has gotten a Center of Advanced Neonatal Studies. A statement by the hospital's management revealed that the initiative was spearheaded by its Department of Pediatrics. The new center aims to position the Lagos State's Teaching Hospital as a leading force in neonatal healthcare training in Nigeria and the sub-Saharan region, reinforcing the institution's status as a pioneer in qualitative healthcare development. You're watching News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. When News Cycle returns, the federal government says it is targeting a $1 billion agricultural investment by 2027. We'll bring you those details and more stories after this short break. Please don't go away. Live broadcast of News Cycle with Uyi Agumofwebe. Thank you so very much for staying with us. Now time to turn to business for you. The federal government says it is targeting a $1 billion agricultural investment and 500,000 jobs by 2027 by the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones Program. The government, in partnership with several development financing institutions, including the African Development Bank, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and the Islamic Development Bank, has started implementation of the first phase of the SABs in 7 states. The SAPZ-1, which is being implemented in Cross River, Imo, Ogun, Oyo, Kaduna, Kano, and Kwara states, targets a $1 billion in new investments from private sector companies within the agro-processing hubs and agricultural transformation centers, as well as 500,000 jobs disaggregated by direct and indirect age group and gender. Enugu State government has clarified the controversial mortuary tax imposed on corpses in the state, noting that it was not intended as a revenue-generating measure, but rather to discourage excessive storage of deceased bodies in mortuaries. The executive chairman of Enugu State's Internal Revenue Service, Emmanuel Namani, says this while reacting to the mortuary tax circular addressed to all mortuary attendants. According to the circular, the Revenue Generation Agency, in line with the provisions of Section 34 of the Birth, Deaths and Burials Law, Cap 15, revised the laws of Enugu State 2004, approved the implementation of the mortuary tax. The federal government of Nigeria has generated 103.7 billion naira in revenue from the electronic money transfer levies in the first half of 2024. According to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria's Statistical Bulletin, this represents a 7.55% increase when compared to the 96.44 billion naira collected during the same period in 2023. This figure shows the growing use of digital payment platforms and a higher volume of electronic transactions, as well as more Nigerians and businesses embrace digital banking solutions. Nigeria is facing a worsening food security crisis, with more than 1 million additional people experiencing severe food insecurity in 2024 compared to the previous year. This is according to a recently released Food Security Update report by the World Bank. The report indicated that Nigeria, alongside Ethiopia and Yemen, witnessed a significant rise in the number of people facing acute food shortages. On a foreign scene, at least 16 people, including 3 women and 2 children, have been killed in a fresh sectarian clash in Pakistan's northwest. Sunni and Shiite Muslim tribes have been engaged in intermittent fighting for several months in the Kuram district of Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Kuram, formerly a semi-autonomous area, has a history of bloody confrontations between tribes belonging to the Sunni and Shiite sect of Islam that have claimed hundreds of lives over the years. A Lebanese official media says an Israeli airstrike had destroyed a mosque in the war-torn south. That's the latest attack as Israeli intensified its bombardments campaign on the country in recent weeks. At around 3:45 a.m. local time, enemy aircraft was said to have carried out an airstrike targeting the old mosque in the center of the village of Kfar Tibnit, destroying it, as according to the national news agency. A village mayor, Fuad Yassin, told newsmen that the village, located about 8 kilometers from the border, had lost some beloved sites that brought people together. King Charles has confirmed that it is up to the Australian people to decide whether the country remains a constitutional monarchy or becomes a republic. Ahead of the King's visit to Australia next week, the Australian Republican movement exchanged letters with Buckingham Palace officials writing on the King's behalf. Correspondence from the palace says that whether Australia becomes a republic is a matter for the Australian people to decide. And now to sports. Ola Aina's consistent sterling performances for Nottingham Forest and Nigeria have attracted the interest of AS Roma, who have him on the list of targets, according to Nottingham Forest News. The Premier League club are reportedly looking for at least £8 million for the wing-back, with whom they're currently in advanced talks to sign a new deal at the City Ground, which is just a reward for his performance in the red shirt. Paul George's scoring touch was on display in his preseason debut with the Philadelphia 76ers. George made 8 of 15 shots and scored a team-high 23 points in a 1-1 to 1-1 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Des Moines, Iowa. He logged 26 minutes, hit 4 3-pointers and added 6 rebounds as well as 2 assists. His exhibition debut continued a stretch of new faces in new places during this preseason, including Karl Anthony Towns in New York, Chris Paul in San Antonio, DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento, and Klay Thompson in Dallas. Mauricio Pochettino has made a winning start to his reign as coach of the United States, with AC Milan's Yunus Musa on target in a 2-0 win over Panama. Argentine Pochettino, the former Tottenham, Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea coach, was brought in last month to take over a team which had won just once in their last 7 games. He will lead the USA to the 2026 World Cup, which they are co-hosting with Canada and Mexico. And while he had only 5 days to work with his new squad, his influence was already evident. And that's a full cycle on the news here, and it came to you on Global Television from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We are on DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276, and free to air on Nightcomsat. We encourage you to follow us across all social media platforms using at Global TV NG, as well as other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Uyag Mofwegwe, thanking you so very much for watching. At 8 o'clock West Africa time, it will be time for our big news bulletin, the News Prime. Do stay with Global Television.